All right, let's jump right in. I've got a fantastic technical detective story for you today. It's all about this one product that just vanished. Poof. It became totally invisible to its own company's search engine. And as you can imagine, it left everyone, customers and engineers alike, totally scratching their heads. Seriously, just picture this for a minute. You run a company, right? You've got a product, it's in the warehouse, ready to go. A customer comes to your website, types in the exact name of that product, hits search, and gets nothing. Zero. It's just gone. Well, that's exactly the weird situation a company found themselves in, and it was all because their product had a super common name. So, what was this product? Get this. It was officially named The. Yeah, just THE. As simple as that. You'd think, hey, how hard could that be to find? But no. A simple search for The on their own website came up with absolutely nothing. It was like a digital ghost.
And this is where things get even weirder. See, the search wasn't completely broken, not at all. It worked perfectly fine for other products, stuff like Gadget Pro. The problem was laser-focused on this one specific word. And that's what made it so baffling.
So now the engineering team has a genuine mystery on their hands. And they do what any good tech detectives would do. They roll up their sleeves and start a proper investigation, following a logical step-by-step process to track down the culprit.
Okay, so their plan of attack started with a really simple question. Is it our fault? Is something wrong with our own code? Once they confirmed their code was fine, the next logical step was to go straight to the source, the search engine itself, which in this case was Elasticsearch. They had to figure out if the problem was in their application or if it was hiding somewhere deep inside the search engine.
And sure enough, after a really close look, their application code got a clean bill of health, totally innocent. Which meant this wasn't just some simple bug they could fix. No, the problem was way deeper, hidden somewhere in the complex guts of the search engine itself. Okay, so with their own app in the clear, the team decided to cut out the middleman. They went straight to the source, querying the search index directly to see what Elasticsearch was really thinking. It's kind of like a detective who decides to interrogate the main suspect one-on-one, with no lawyers in the room.
And bam! This right here, this is the smoking gun. When they looked at the raw data coming back from Elasticsearch, they found their proof. They basically asked it, hey, do you have anything called The? And the system shot back, total results, 0. So it wasn't their app hiding things. The search engine itself was flat out convinced the product was a figment of their imagination.
Now, just to be absolutely sure, they ran the exact same search on a different system, one they knew was set up correctly. And what happened? It found 2 matching products, just like it was supposed to. This was the final nail in the coffin. It proved the product was in the database. Their system wasn't just glitching, it was fundamentally, completely blind to the word The. So after all that digging, the investigation finally closes in on its prime suspect. And here's the crazy part. It wasn't a bug. It wasn't a glitch. It was a feature. A rule that was doing exactly what it was told to do, but with, well, disastrous results. And that feature has a name. It's called a stop word. This is a really common idea in search engines. Basically, a stop word is a word that's so common, think a, an, the, that the search engine is literally programmed to just ignore it. The whole point is to cut through the noise so the system can focus on the important keywords and give you better, faster search results. And the culprit in this case? It was a default filter in Elasticsearch called the English_stop filter. Think of it like a pre-packaged blacklist of common English words that the system just tosses out before it even starts searching. It's designed to be a one-size-fits-most kind of solution. And there it is, right there on the list, the word The. The product's actual name was on the system's default ignore list, so the search engine wasn't broken, it was just following orders. It was actively throwing the search term away. A search for The literally became a search for, well, for nothing. So, mysteries solved. Now the team could finally focus on the fix, and maybe even more importantly, on the big lessons they learned from this whole mess. I mean, it's a perfect example of how those out-of-the-box, default settings can silently cause huge problems for a real business. And the fix was actually pretty smart and straightforward. First, they made their own custom list of stop words, one that, you guessed it, did not include the word The. Then, they built a new custom analyzer to use that new list.
And finally, they just pointed the product name field to their new, much smarter set of rules. Problem solved. And this is really the key takeaway from this whole story. You can never ever assume that default settings are going to work for your specific needs. Sure, Elasticsearch's default setting is great for searching, say, a blog post. But for a product catalog with a product named The, it was a total disaster. It just goes to show you how critical customization is, especially when your actual product names look like noise to a machine. So, moving forward, the team put some new strategies in place. Now they actually go and check their product names for these kinds of potential conflicts before they become a problem. They're building systems that understand their specific business, not just the general rules of a language. And that's the key, right? It's all about making the technology fit the business, not forcing the business to fit the technology.
And that really brings us to a final, pretty interesting thought. This whole giant headache was caused by one tiny hidden default setting that, let's be honest, most of us would never even think to check. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What other invisible default rules are out there, quietly shaping our digital lives, filtering what we get to see, and maybe more importantly, deciding what we don't?